Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts, and today we're looking at the different workflows between a grind on demand or single dose grinder. What's better for you and what are the differences between the two? So a common question is, what's better, grind on demand or single dose? Single dose grinders have really become popular. They solve a lot of problems and they do make sense. From a perfectionist standpoint, no retention, easy to dial in, you can change between your coffees and you are getting the best results possible. But in reality, this is not always the best case for everyone. And now what we have here is two different grinders. And we're not actually comparing the grinders per se, but more the workflow. So obviously the Eureka is a 65mm flat fur diamond cut blade. The Niche is a 63mm conical blade off the Mazziconi. Different styles, both really popular grinders. The Niche has cult status. So we're not here to compare which is a better grinder, but which is a better workflow. Effectively, with a grind on demand, you got your beans sitting in the hopper. Now you don't want too many beans up there because you're better off storing them in a container like this that's airtight, doesn't get any light and it stores better. And you don't want too little a bean because you don't want the popcorning effect when the beans are low and they start bouncing around and you get a variance in particle size. So having enough coffee for just say a day or two is generally the approach that most people take. Now, if you're not changing between beans or blends and you're just say running the same blend every day, you wake up in the morning, you want to make coffee, this does make sense. Now, they've got retention. So what a lot of people do is on the single, they run like half a second or a second just to get out whatever the retention is of that grinder. So if the grinder has 2 grams, you time it so you've got 2 grams worth of coffee coming out and you can quickly put your portafilter in, run out that retention, get it out, and now you're ready to grind your double shot. So it's obviously not based on weight, it's based on time. We grind it out 20 grams. In this case, we're spot on 20 grams, even though we've lost a tiny bit of coffee. Most grinders do create a little bit of mess. And we tamp it, and it's ready to lock in our portafilter and run our shot. So the advantage of having a grind on demand is you can set your single as a purge, your double as your shot, and it's just ready to go. Put it in, grind. Not everyone's weighing it to check. Sometimes you kind of know you're relatively close and you just want to make coffee in the morning and do it. From a practical standpoint, it's there. Where it gets harder is if you wanted to now change to a different blend or a different set of beans, you'd have to grind that out, kind of clean it, put in the new beans, grind a little bit because there's still a bit of retention before you go completely fresh. With a single dose grinder, things are a little different. Because there's no coffee in the hopper and there's no retention, you could use it to say, quickly go from espresso to filter or different blends. So an espresso blend and a single origin blend for espresso. And you can quickly adjust the dial to really dial in and you don't have to run a bit of coffee between dialing in. If you were to do it on the grind on demand, there's always some coffee left in the chamber. So you have to run a bit of coffee through before that adjustment takes place. So from a dialing in, running different coffees, it is super practical to have a single dose grinder. Where it becomes a little bit more work is effectively you don't have a hopper. So you're taking your dosing cup, you're getting 20 grams of coffee, and now the convenient thing is that you are storing coffee in a better manner than having it in a hopper, so it is a little bit fresher. There we go. 20 grams, and you pour in. So in theory, everything you've poured in is now coming out. This is a newer Niche with the flow control disc, which helps in reduced popcorning. Theoretically, you should have, 20 grams, spot on, because everything that went in went out. And now that's when you get your portafilter and you dose it in. Tamp that. And you're ready to do your espresso. So on both machines, we've done 20 grams. The difference is the workflow. And going back to that, it really depends on what you want to do. If you want to play with coffee, you want to get the best result possible out of the grinder, run it from differences, say a blend to a single origin to a filter coffee, then single dose really is the best way. But you really do have to get that coffee from either your coffee bag or a storage container, weigh it in, put it in, possibly weigh it out and run your espresso. From a convenient aspect, we find that most people actually want a grinder that's not going to be as perfect, even though you're now talking like the top end of the scale. Not going to be as perfect in terms of it does have a touch of retention. They can work in their workflow to run a single, purge out that little bit, run a double, and they're pretty much like a certain blend or a certain bean, and that's consistently what they're going to have. They're going to top up their hopper in the morning, they're going to just purge, some people may not, run their double, run their coffee and be done with it, possibly not even weigh out. And it really comes down to workflow. And I've mentioned workflow so many times in this video because we notice when people come in, there's two schools of thought. People that want the best, they want to play with coffee. They want machines that they can control the temperature at the group head. They can control flow rates possibly if they're looking at pressure profiling. And then there's those that want consistently great results, but they're not worried about that nth degree. They want to make coffee at home without going too deep and making it unpractical. They want to wake up, the machine's ready, they grind their coffee, make their coffee, they're happy. And that's the answer, really. So it's not about the niche version, the Eureka, it's about which workflow is best for you. So we've done a video comparing the top 5 grind-on-demand grinders, in which the Eureka XL is one of them, and for that, you can click here to watch that. But I'm curious, what workflow do you prefer? Do you prefer grind on demand or do you prefer single dose? Which one do you do? And do you have one of these grinders at home, be it the niche, which I'm presuming quite a few people have it, they're pretty much a cult status, or the Eureka XL? Let me know in the comments below. And like always, if this video has brought you value, hit that thumbs up and please subscribe. See you on the next video. Thank you.